Okay, hopefully We should be live. We'll find out here in just a sec. Aha, there I am, yes. Hello, everybody. We started a little bit late today because my equipment didn't want to cooperate with me as usual. And actually, I spent the better part of an hour trying to figure out why there was a mute button that kept flashing up on the screen, and it was driving us crazy. And eventually, after shutting everything down, I discovered that part of one of my tripods was laying across the TV remote and kept repeatedly and randomly hitting the mute button, so drove ourselves nuts for no real particular reason. But hi, sorry, kind of a surprise live stream here, even though we do them on the last Saturday of every month. We were going to put up an announcement, but we weren't sure how we'd feel with it being Thanksgiving and everything else. But we were doing pretty good, so we decided to stop it to go ahead and start it up and get going here. So we're glad that you guys are stopping in. Let's see who we have here. RK420, first off the bat. Good morning. Hello. It's let's see. It's about 3 o'clock here. So I'm not sure what time it is where you guys are at. That one, lesbian. Hello, glad to see you again. Yep, you made it to another one. Will's mom, good to see you. You can always turn the football off. Aren't we more entertaining? No? Okay, it's all right, we get it. Cosplay 101. Hey, how was your Thanksgiving? Fairly peaceful, as far as they go. COVID keeps relations away and things like that. But it was just us, and since inevitably we'll be asked, Rosemary wasn't specifically cooking. It was kind of more of a group effort, if you will. It's kind of weird when you're co-conning and co-fronting and cooking at the same time. It's kind of like you've got one too many cooks in the kitchen, both upstairs and outside, so it's kind of like a little dance. But yeah. Tanner Monahan, hello, welcome. I don't think I've seen you in the live stream before, so welcome. Channel's been life-saving and amazing, and I'm excited for the live. Good. We're glad that we were able to help you guys out, and that you're getting some stuff out of the content. A little bit different this time. I didn't do the fancy setup with the side monitors and everything to where I'm sitting in front of the usual background with the shelves and the knickknacks and the trees and whatnot. So if you may be wondering, this thing here behind me is actually a screen that we had made years ago for an entirely different purpose, that's actually foldable, and we figured out it's actually covered in black velvet, believe it or not. I know who. But we figured, hey, maybe if we set that up between us and the window, it would kill most of the glare, and that way we could just sit right in front of our computer and be able to type and chat answers and stuff. So, for those of you who haven't been here before, the live streams are pretty informal. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have. Don't worry about asking things, that might be too personal. If we feel that it is too personal or we don't want to answer, we'll be straight up and tell you, nope, sorry. So far, we really haven't had any that fit that category. We're pretty out there for everything, in case you guys haven't noticed. So feel free to ask away. I'll turn it back on you guys at this point. How was your Thanksgiving, if you celebrate Thanksgiving? I know Naomi Mendelsohn, who may or may not pop up here, was saying that they're in Israel, and they don't celebrate it there, but still kind of a bountiful, grateful type of a holiday worldwide, or at least we'd like to think so. I mean, let's just brush aside the whole fact that the American Thanksgiving holiday is essentially Native American cultural appropriation caused through rampant colonialism. We'll leave that to the side and concentrate on just the turkey and the stuffing. But yeah. Let's see. Oh, hey, Will's mom, right off the bat with a good question. She says, Chris, I have a question that I've been meaning to ask. Is religion a trigger for our system? That's kind of broad, and I'm going to say no. With a qualifier. And there are several subjects that we try to avoid just out of good manners on the channel. It's kind of a holdover to my grandmother's rules, which were essentially no politics or sex or religion at the dinner table or in polite conversation. And the conversations were generally pretty polite at her house, so we kind of followed that throughout our time as an internet forum dude. Hang on just a second, I'm going to close the door. It's a little noisy. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit of an extra sound buffer there. So, back to the religions. We have always been very open and accepting of other religions or methods of spirituality worldwide. When we were much younger, we took it upon ourselves to educate ourselves about the various cultures and religions and ways of thought worldwide, because we felt that the normal major religions had some pretty huge gaping holes in them and just outright blatant hypocrisy in a lot of cases. And we're not naming names, okay? Every religion has its problems. But underneath it all, no matter where you are, no matter where your beliefs, no matter your spirituality, we're all after the same thing, which is the connection and the feeling of belonging with something that is larger than us, something that we can identify with and turn to in times of need when our internal bastions or processes may have failed. When we're reaching out for that hope. So we've always kind of been a little confused as to why the different religions just don't get along. And we think that's kind of where, the secular side of it comes into play and whatnot. It's a very complex subject, and it's very easy to step on people's toes. If you're asking how we identify, we don't have different religions, really, among the various members, but we have went from being agnostic to Wiccan, to fundamental Christian, to Buddhist. We've kind of been all over the place, and that's actually kind of one of the interesting things that we're trying to figure it out is who was this person at that particular time, and do they still actually have any core beliefs that might conflict with somebody else. But unfortunately, we've been lucky to not have to deal with that. We know what we are now, and now we're starting to tread into dangerous grounds. Suffice it to say, we're just going to outright say it. We have a real problem with the idea of any type of God that would allow the things to happen to us and children and do nothing about it. And that's about as far as we're going to go on that, because then we get into the whole, have faith, and, this is, God's holding your hand when he says, forgive me, but we've been there, and we've done that. And so, here's the best way to sum up our thing. We believe that as a species, mankind, we have a great destiny as caretakers of our planet, and if we've been put here for anything by whatever, it's to look after the life forms that cannot help themselves. Call it being a good shepherd, call it what you want, but if we have been created for a purpose, we feel that it was most likely that one. Hang on just a second. It's pre-cooked hamburger in both of those, so feel free to use it. Yep. Sorry, wife was asking about mysterious things in the refrigerator. We had pre-cooked like about a 10-pound chub of hamburger just to have it, easier later on in the week. So that's kind of the religion thing, Will's mom. Basically, we just kind of feel that we need to get our crap together as the human race, and that it's time for us to graduate preschool and start looking at ourselves as one planet, one species on one planet. And it's time to stop, forgive us, dicking around with fights about states and politics and religion and everything else. We need to look at ourselves as one species, because that's the only way that we're ever going to achieve a real destiny. And we're just going to go ahead and close it down there. Hope that we answered your question and gave you some insight into that. So there we go. Let's see. Cosplay 101, would you mind sharing any experiences of chunks of memory being gone? What did you do to help it or to stop or lessen it? Whoa. That's actually, you're actually referring to two separate things. DID, I don't want to say sufferers, or, there's always these negative connotations. People with DID do not experience time in the same way that neurotypicals or NTs do, or at least we don't. Now, keep in mind, as always, and we'll go ahead and preface it now because we do, or try to, at the beginning of every live stream. Here it is. We are patients. We are not professionals. We don't have PhD or MD or whatever the psychiatric things are at the end of our name. We are a patient. We are not stable. We are mentally ill. We are not experts. We are giving you our research and our experiences such as they are. They may apply to you. They may not apply to you. If they speak to you, that's great. But we are not experts. What we say or present on the channel is the most recent info that we can find, but may or may not be accurate. So, with all those caveats out of the way, remember, we're not experts. So, two different types of things. DID sufferers have chunks of missing time. This is due to the amnesic barrier that the brain has created to encapsulate the trauma. It's locked away because we can't deal with it. While it's happening, it is so overwhelming, it is so traumatic, to coin the word, that we can't deal with it. And that's why the brain locks it away. It encapsulates it, bonds it to the brain on a neurochemical level, and goes, boop. Okay, we're going to put that over there until we're in a safe space and psychologically safe that we can open that up again. So you have those missing chunks of your life that you just simply consider to be normal, that in fact are either repressed trauma memories, the amnesic walls that have been sectioned off, or another individual trauma, because like for our system, for example, we've got really extensive trauma, and while not all of those can create a separate alter, sometimes it can, depending. So each time you're traumatized does not mean that you're going to spit out a new alter. A lot of it depends upon the system, on the type of abuse, on the amount of time, but there is always that commonality of there are chunks out of your life that you just simply do not remember. We had several of those. We thought it was normal. We've lost anywhere from, a day or so, 9 or 10 hours at a stretch. So there's that, when you're talking about the missing chunks. Now there is a second part of it, which is, I don't want to call it a phenomenon. Like I said, our brains have been rewired. Specifically with the temporal areas that deal with the progression of time in a linear manner. We've literally been Swiss cheesed. We've had brain go in, pulling out chunk, and throwing it into a box. So particularly when you start to undergo treatment, or at least when we started to undergo treatment, that got a lot more flexible, and it is common to, I don't know what you want to call it, blank out or miss time. It's like the other night we suddenly came back to ourselves, or I switched back in to find myself or ourselves in the closet. We'd been in there for about half hour doing, looking for something. Honestly, don't know. It's not that uncommon for us to completely lose track of the day. It's like earlier today, or like less than an hour ago, our wife was going, you do know it's Saturday, right? And it's like, it's a day? So yeah, there's two separate portions. So that gets to the first part of your question. Now, what did we do to help stop it or to lessen it? We're working on that one. With the hard-encoded trauma, the chunks, there's not anything you can do about those. When your brain is ready to release that flashback, that experience, it will do it. And unfortunately, no, we're not quite sure what the trigger is, how the brain does that. It's one of the things to discuss with our therapist that we have on the list. But it might be one of these where science just simply doesn't know at this point. Scientists at Stanford have only just recently proven what van der Kolk and the rest were saying back in the 80s, which was the neurological trauma bonding, that the trauma actually affects the neuronal structure of the brain as the brain encodes the memory. And they identified the exact portion of the brain, which is what van der Kolk and the rest were saying. If you're not familiar with Dr. van der Kolk, he wrote a wonderful book called The Body Keeps the Score, which is essentially a handbook for PTSD and trauma. If you want to find out what it's all about, that's the book for you. We're not compensated or endorsed. I know we say it at any time, but it's just simply because the book is that good and contains that much information. So as far as lessening the time effects, we wish we knew. It's become increasingly more difficult for us to keep track of linear time. And this has actually caused some serious problems lately for us. So it's a struggle. It's a process. We'll let you guys know what we come up with. Basically, it's just CBT and DBT. Cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectic behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, you normally find that more for curing like addictions and things, similar one-shot PTSD type of things. DBT, or dialectic behavioral therapy, is essentially keeping yourself busy. That's it in a nutshell. It's just when you feel those patterns or those things start to occur, you divert into something else. So it's kind of like constantly running away from the tiger, but it's all you can do. You have to work with the tools that they give you. So without blathering on more, I hope that answers your question. Great question, Cosplay 101. Okay. RK420 says, no one in their system has a good relationship with family and holidays, or especially emotionally laborious tasks for us all. Any tips on how to handle these stressful visits? Don't go. You don't have to go. But, and I know that sounds cold, okay, and we do understand all of the connections that go along with it. It can be tough. But unfortunately, yeah, for systems, holidays are brutal because we are often forced to be in the same environment or sit down at the same table with the people who abused us. And essentially, we are required, for the good of the family, to sit down and re-traumatize ourselves every year. And there's always that fear that after dinner or before dinner, that person is going to catch you in the hallway or wherever, and all of a sudden, it's going to start all over again. Despite the fact that you're an adult, despite the fact that you can defend yourself now, all of that trauma bonding is going to come rushing right out. Here's one for you. This happens to us, and I know it happens to other systems as well. We talk in one of our videos, I think it's Learning to Love Again, where we go into the trauma bonding. We will get diffuse abdominal and back pains the day before, the day of, and generally the day after any major holiday. These are directly linked to the physical sensations that the brain encoded when the trauma occurred. Think about that. So there's an example. We're already operating under the gun. if you are an open system with your family, they should understand this. But if it's just you and you're kind of in the standard, okay, God, I'm going to have to go see Uncle Joe or Aunt Marie or whoever, and I really don't want to, I guess it all comes down to self-care. You are not obligated to go. You are not obligated to hurt yourself for the benefit of others. And if they're that fragile that your presence is required, that's not a terribly strong dynamic there. I guess that's our answer on it. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. That's where it's at for us. We kind of had to cut most of those people out of our lives along the way anyway, so we don't really deal with that now. But yeah, it's been a big issue in the past. So yeah, don't go. Mellow yourself out. Self-care. Take it slow. One of our friends, they had just gotten done with Thanksgiving, and they're like, oh, we should, go ahead and start decorating for Christmas. Let the little out and whatnot. And, what do you think? And we're like, we can see where you're coming from, but we'd kind of take it slow because you don't want to overwhelm, Yeah. So, let's see. Yes, Tanner. Anybody who hasn't seen a live stream before, please feel free to chat and answer questions amongst yourself. This is a community forum, as it was. It's not just us sitting here talking and blathering to you guys. Think of it as a resource, the crowd as a resource, because each system is different. Stuff that we say will apply to some but won't to another. Another person might have the same type of experience that you do. So yes, please talk, chat, whatever. Share resources. So there you go. All right, so let's see here. Answered that. Will's mom, thank you, Chris. You seem to have a good grip on this. I was raised with religion, which we still follow. However, many terrible things have been done in the name of religion. Yes, all religions have done terrible things. Let's just fess up to it. We respect other people's choices to believe what they want, as long as they don't try to shove it down other people's throats, because that's where all of the problem and all of the wars and stuff come from. We just simply need to respect each other, respect our differences, and stop trying to let's just agree to disagree and let it go at that. Celebrate our diversity. If that makes me sound like a liberal, then well, so be it. Anyway, time to grow up, folks. But yeah, believe what you want, but just be respectful about it. And, you'll find that all of the major religious figures essentially said just that. Ugh. So, all right, enough about that. Yeah, there we go. Open for any advice. Yes, please. Honestly wish DBT would be taught in school, that one lesbian says. Changed her life so much for the better. Yeah, it's simple, but it's hard. Because, at least for us, it's one of the only ways that we can keep ourselves from being hugely overwhelmed by the stuff coming out. So it's like I said, it's kind of like running around in circles, but it does help. Quasi, hey, Quasi, good to see you. Agree, Chris, if you can just don't go, especially if you're an adult. Being the bigger person, crap is often said, but it's just an excuse to be abusive or to take... Yeah, there you go. That's one that we forgot about. Take a friend and have an exit strategy. Yeah, just, husbands and wives, I'm sure, married folks out there, I don't want to assume gender. Yeah, I'm sure you've been at a party where you can kind of just look at your mate and go, and they're like, okay, we'll go, and you're staring at each other from other sides of the kitchen, but you've got that internal signal going. So yeah, take a friend, take a backup support. Actually, taking a friend would be great. Take somebody, that they don't know about or anything, because that will provide a buffer. Just make sure your friend is cool with that first. But yeah. All right, so, great tip there, Quasi. Just a mom, hello, afternoon. Tanner Moore says, yeah, there we go. Tanner's literally giving that exact same advice. Bringing someone along, sticking with one family member who is safe. That can be complex, but yeah. 5 pieces of 9, hello. You may be barely here, but you're still here. thank you for coming up. We've been worried about you lately, but you're still plugging away at the channel and plugging away at your episodes, which we do watch. We don't always have the time to comment, but we do watch. And hit that like button, so keep doing what you're doing. It's worthwhile. And you are touching people. Just look at your comments section. One person at a time. One ripple at a time. Proud of you. Baldwin, hello. Yes, you managed to catch a live stream. We started a little bit later, and we figured, it's holiday virtually, well, for a lot of people, so, figured we'd pop on and say hi. Plus, it is the last Saturday of the month, which we normally do our live streams around 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, let's see. Yeah, okay, RK42. Definitely been told not to go. Yeah. Probably going to practice taking more control over the situation. Really is their problem if they're hurt of it. Yeah, exactly. Be strong about it. It's really easy to fall back into those victim abuser patterns, and one of the things that we've noticed, just dealing with emotional abuse and domestic violence situations, is that when you flip the tables on your abusers, they don't know how to react. They don't. They've depended upon that guilt, blame, shame spiral to keep you under their thumb. So when you decide to go, hey, you hit the road, buddy, they see that their power is broken over you. That doesn't mean they're not gonna try, but yeah, definitely. All right, that one was me. So refreshing finding a space where religion can be respected while at the same time being able to share trauma or bad experiences without being invalidated. Yeah, that's just exactly it. And here we go again, because we always say this on each and every live stream. Here are our channel policies for those of you who are not aware. You have a right to your opinion. You have a right to state your opinion in a civilized fashion. You do not have the right to abuse other people with it. Okay? So as long as you mind your P's and Q's, stay polite, make rational arguments or points of view, and avoid the excess use of profanity or outright personal attacks, we will never delete your comment. Or, if you want to be critical of us and call us out on something, please do. As long as you're polite about it, hell, we'll leave it up and we'll probably pin it, because we own what we're doing. That's part of who we are. So, yeah, please. Definitely. So, yeah. Anyway. We do try to respect everybody's different beliefs and whatnot. Like I said, we try not to touch that side of it because it's just a quagmire. But yeah, we're trying to provide a gathering place, as it were, a safe space, if you want to call it that, for all systems and all singlets and anyone who might be an abuse or a trauma survivor to come to and be able to express those things without fear of being retaliated, because we do read the comments. We read each and every comment. We don't miss any. We may take a few days, or YouTube, unfortunately, is really bad about informing us of replies to comments on threads. So once a month, we try to go back and literally physically backtrack each of the comment sections on the video, which is getting progressively more difficult. But so if we have missed a comment of yours, that doesn't mean that we are ignoring you. It means that chances are we either haven't seen it yet or we just haven't had a chance to reply. So there's that. There's the policies. Keep that in mind, you new folks. So yes, 5-piece on. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for the advice and for answering my questions. It was really nice to be reassured to begin with. Okay. Playing Dark Souls right now. Just lovely hearing your voice again. Hope you are all doing well. Sending lots of love from Scotland. Scotland. Wow, cool. Where are you? Where exactly, if you don't mind us asking? Because we've kind of been in love with Europe for quite a while, but we know that we're never going to have the money to go. So it's a bucket list thing. But we always wanted to do the classical tour of Europe. But you just kind of have to bite the bullet and realize these things are never going to happen. So we like to hear from you guys. Where are you from? What is it really like there? Because it's kind of an offshoot, but one of the things that we have discovered over the course of time, and we worked at a major national park here in the United States for about 5 years that gets tourists from all over the world. So we got to be... I don't say influenced. we got to have cultural contact with all of these various countries and whatnot, and to learn from them and what it's really like. And generally what we found, and this ties back into the whole time for us to grow up, is that people are just people. Pretty much. Everybody across the whole face of the earth faces the same problems, has the same dreams, the same hopes, want the same happiness. It's only when we stop paying attention to those things, those commonalities, that we start to get into trouble. But pretty much, no matter where you go, there you are. Wisdom from Buckaroo Banzai. So, yeah. Sorry, I guess we're waxing poetic today. Dundee, okay, yeah. Well, Edinburgh's cool. We've researched that city. So much history. So, yeah. Wow, okay, normally we have to scroll to keep up. You guys feel free to throw out any questions that you got. Don't see anything over here. Alright, so sorry for the camera shaking a little bit. We've kind of got a hodgepodge arrangement because we really need to get a proper webcam. So let's see, what's going on with the channel? We have been dealing with some fairly pretty serious stuff in real life, or whatever you want to call it, outside. So we haven't been as active this month as we wanted to be, but Percival has finished recording the last 2 chapters of The Forgotten Door. We are already done doing the basic editing of the vocal track of the first one. We still need to do the second, then we need to go through, put in all the sound effects, which are called Foleys, for those of you who aren't familiar with the parlance, and then he'll record the headers and the bumpers, and we'll be able to get those out to you probably this week, coming up here. And we will be doing them back to back because they are short and they go right together, and it's the finale of the book. So look for that. After he's got that cleaned off his slate, we're going to be going back to the Safe Space stories. We updated the playlist for those, and that's what we're going to call them now, rather than Little Stories with Percival. So that was just too wordy, and everybody started calling them Safe Space stories anyway, so okay, you guys win. So we're going to get back to doing those. We're going to be putting up, probably on the community tab, a poll to see what the littles would like to listen to next. We got to dig through our little golden books and whatnot and come up with some contenders. But we will be getting back to new episodes for the littles. So I know we've said that the past couple times, but things kind of went... but he is very, very much wanting to get back to the littles, and feels kind of bad that he hasn't had the time to do that. But and this was why when folks were suggesting maybe we read the Lord of the Rings or the Harry Potter series, now you see why that's not a good idea. Okay, because while he would be more than willing to do them, it would take forever, and literally forever, and other content would have to suffer for it. So we will probably do another novella at some point in the future, but those big, huge books, sorry, it's just not going to happen. And then plus, you start to get into copyright issues and whatnot, and we release all of the Safe Space stories under Creative Commons, and we are commenting on it. There's all these requirements and things, so we pay close attention to that, so we're not running into any monetization problems. Oh yes, and that's one other thing that we needed to catch you guys up on. Thank you for letting us hit 1,000. We're still not monetized yet. There's this whole process that you have to go through. The only reason that we mention this, because it's not our primary focus, is that YouTube recently did some changes to their partner agreement or whatever it is. Basically, they have now changed it to where they can put an ad before or after, I hope it's not during, a video, whether you have monetized it or not. So the creator may not have monetized their videos at all, and ads start showing up. You might have noticed this. Hopefully, if not, if you've seen ads on our stuff, it's not us. It's just not. So there is that. We will, of course, be monetizing later on once if they approve us. But we're not money focused here. Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice to fill the gas tank or whatnot every month or something, but that's not why we started the channel. But we do want to say this. We're not going to do the Patreon thing. We're not going to do merch. Maybe way the hell down the road. Okay, and probably take and give the profits to charity or something. I don't know. We're still baby swimming here. But we do want to let you guys know, if you want to support the channel, just turn off your ad blocker, watch an ad or two. We'll let you know when we're monetized, and even when we do, we will not throw ads in the middle of the content. It's just, who wants to watch that? So there's that. Just wanted to give you guys the heads up on that and where we're at with it. We're still working on getting a P.O. box. Money got a little tight here because of the holidays. Hey, whose isn't? But we will be getting that up and running as soon as we possibly can. So I think that's all the status updates that we have for now. We'll go ahead and go back to the questions and see what you guys have got here. Let's see here. Got a new one in. Isadora, hello there. Hello. Hey, we aren't in a very good day today. We just tuned in, and it's been calming to hear your boy's voice. From Brazil, hello, welcome. Brazil, cool. South America, always wanted to go there. Peru, especially. I'd love to see Machu Picchu. Anyway, sorry. Lots of travel stuff here. So let's see. Hope our day is going well. Yeah, it is pretty well. 5 pieces of 9. Message retracted. You didn't have to do that, but we're cool with it if you wanted to. Starlight Valkyrie, appreciate the new background. Also appreciate your videos. Thank you. Yeah, the background is actually, it's a foldy screen that we made a long time ago for a whole other purpose, and it's covered with black velvet. And we figured, okay, if we just set that up between us and the window, maybe it'll kill the glare, so it seems to be working pretty well. Normally, I wear black, Chris/Data, that's kind of our color thing, but because it's black, obviously, we didn't want to disappear, so we put on gray, just for today. So, yeah, glad that that's helping, Valkyrie. And you're welcome for the videos. We're glad that it's helping you guys out. Whoops. Come on, mouse. There we go. I'm going to try to make it not shake so much. Okay, Maldwin says, the little one is really looking forward to more stories. She loves them. Yes, she likes a sweet treat and to listen to Percy's stories and cuddles with soft toys. That's good. I'm glad. We feel really good about the safe space stories because we're kind of like, why people don't talk about littles? I mean, yeah, they're hurt, they're traumatized, they're the terribly wounded things, but they are also the core of us. They're the most important things, and it's like, we noticed that everybody's like, don't touch the littles, don't do anything around the littles. It's like, littles need content too. So we started with it, and everybody's really loved it, so yay. A good thing. Okay, so let's see. 5 pieces of 9. Can we talk about or ask questions about... Oh, suicide. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah. Here's our thing on the triggers and the apostrophes and things. We get it, how some people can be sensitive, but we also expect our audience to be adults. We're going to say the words. You might have noticed from our programming, we don't shy away from these things. It's a fact. It's out there. We have these things. We have these ideations. These things have happened to us. Let's just call them what they are. Okay, so that's our policy on it. So yes, you absolutely may talk about that and ask questions. So yes, absolutely. Because this is the only way that we are going to ever help ourselves and each other, is by being willing to talk about these uncomfortable, icky things that we all shy around, because that's where the truth lays, folks, or at least part of it. So yes, please. Just a Mom says, deep question. Our daughter is adopted and we've been given the opportunity to pursue legal action against her abuser. Would that be more harmful or helpful in our opinion? Yeah, you're right, Just a Mom. That is a deep question. Sorry, we're thinking. We can't give you a hard and fast because we could see all of the various sides of that. I think the safest reply and the best reply would be to explore those options. And it sounds like maybe you already have been. It would depend upon how old she is, how she feels about it. It would depend upon exactly the abuse and whatnot, obviously. I would say definitely at least pursue the possibility, the knowledge of that, because it can always be done. But there are the statute of limitations to look at, because there's a certain span of time when an individual can be charged with things, and if you go past that, it can be much more difficult to prosecute. So unfortunately, yeah, you're looking at a small time window, and we have done work in the legal field, so we kind of know what we're on about here. Again, not experts, not a lawyer, but it's always good to leave that door open. So again, it would depend upon how old she is, their feelings, the abuse, the situation. Don't be afraid to pursue it if you think that it would be good in the long term. Also, don't be afraid to put it on the back burner if you feel maybe it's not your decision, if they're not in, if your daughter isn't in the place yet where she is wanting or capable of making that level of a decision. And we're kind of getting the gist that she's younger, so that might be a decision that you might have to just take the chance and end up making for her. Okay, that's the logical, rational part of us giving you that advice. The person in us who has been traumatized says, yeah, absolutely, screw them to the wall if you can, because yeah, but we can't officially say that. That's just our personal knee-jerk reaction. So yeah, keep the door open, look at the circumstances, talk with an attorney, and do what's best overall for your daughter. Because as a parent, that's our job. We can't make everything right. We have to let them fall on their noses at some point, or they're never going to learn anything. But there are times when we have to make those hard decisions on behalf of our kids, because they may not be ready to deal with the ramifications of this until much farther down the road. And then you're left with that conversation of, why did you do this? And you're going, because we thought that it was the best thing for you at the time. So hope that gives you some suggestions. Excellent question. Good, hard question. Chatting month. Okay, 13. I'm sorry, I really need to look up. Yeah, you're definitely in that category of need to get her take on it, but ultimately it may lie with you. It depends upon her maturity, too. A lot of the victims of CSA are forced to mature real early. Real early. So, yeah. So there's that. Okay, Quasimodo says, Chris, I'm having trouble with hiding that I'm disassociating in therapy. Any advice on how to feel safe and let therapists know that this is happening? It's really seamless to me blacking out parts. If your therapist is competent, she should, or they should be picking up on this fact. Sorry, that's the obvious, brutal answer, but if you're doing trauma work, yeah, you're disassociating. I mean, I'm not sure what you're in therapy for, but yeah, if you're dissociating badly to where you're slipping out and then coming back, your therapist should be picking up on that. Definitely express these concerns with her, or them, and see what they have to say. Any good therapist, and we know because we have a good one, will either move forward or pull back according to where you're at and how you feel about your treatment. If you're feeling overwhelmed, folks, say so. Okay, the therapist, or at least ours does not have a 12-step plan. Dun, 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 dun. It's a lot more loose than that, and you have far more control over the direction, the duration, and the intensity of your therapy. A lot of folks kind of have this backwards thing where the therapist is in charge, and they've got all the answers, and they've got the plan, and they're going to tell you what to do, and where you're going to go next, and maybe some of them do. But that's not going to help you. You're the only one in your head. You're the only one that really knows, how you're reacting. You may not know why or everything that you're doing. That's their job. But communicate. Tell them, look, I am experiencing X. We need to do this. I would be more comfortable with exploring this or not exploring this. You're in charge. A therapist is a person providing a service, unless they are the only person that you can get, and we understand that because of, insurance and things like that. Don't be afraid to look for another one or ask for another therapist. It's more like, I don't want to use the car analogy, but you need one that's comfortable and is going to take you to where you need to go and be responsive to you. So yeah, there's our kind of a mini rant on that, Quasi. Just bring it to their attention. Hope that helps. Let's see. We asked to talk to you, but sorry. To try and help if possible. I just love this. You guys are reaching out to each other. Yeah. Okay. Kyrie Verse, hi from the UK. Welcome. Don't think we've seen you about before. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have. Our live streams are just basically kind of a general conversation back and forth between everybody. So feel free to ask whatever questions you might have, and welcome. Okay, so let's see. Yep, it's very nice. Have sensory processing issues. Black is always a nice color. Yes. Our wardrobe has always been very monochromatic. A lot of black because it's a safe, protective color. Okay, Just a Mom says she is torn between love and hate for her biological parents. Some say yes, the core is clueless. Others say they still love him. Biodad. Yeah, it's tough to untangle. We don't envy your position right now. We've pretty much given you your thoughts. Don't be... It would sound to us like she's not really capable of making that decision at this point along her journey. We remember your comment on the trauma doesn't lie, denying DID trauma doesn't lie, and we get where you're coming from on that. It sounds like she's kind of in the this will just all go away, and of course we know that it's not going to. But again, like we were just telling Quasi, the patient needs to be able to move at their own speed. But at the same time, there's going to be that avoidance thing, which is where a good therapist who can see these things and get out ahead of you to steer you back onto the proper course is so vital, because this is why they're there to help you navigate not only the patient but the support network around them to help you navigate these difficulties that are going to crop up. So our thoughts and hopes go with you on that one. Very tough situation, but kudos to you for adopting children, for adopting a CSA victim, for adopting a trauma victim, to giving a new life and a new hope to a child who needs that more than you could possibly understand. Maybe you can. Thank you for that. The world needs more people like you. So, respect from us to you. Not going to leave that out. So, Just a Mom, keep going. Okay, yeah, okay, you guys are... We're going to go ahead and let you chat back and forth. Okay, that one was me, and I'm thinking, did you ever get anxious about what happened to the photos of you? I never thought about mine, but I've newly been struggling to cope healthily, and I wondered what may have helped you with that if you experienced that. We remember your comment on the Team Pinata, our reaction to their community post, where you'd said that you were also a trafficking victim. See, we do read the comments and pay attention. It has been difficult for us to not only come to the realization, but have to face the realization that no doubt that there are pornographic materials out there of us. Pictures. They wouldn't have been videos at that point. This was back in the days of 8mm and 16mm. They were just edging into the video field, the early to mid-70s. So there, but not common. But yeah, to know that there is a physical record of our abuse out there, that some pervert is still using to obtain illicit gratification, yeah, that bugs us. That bugs us, yeah, and makes us feel nasty and dirty and violated all over again. But at the same time, it's been out there for so long. It may not be. Hopefully, it's not out there. But we have to face facts. It probably is. And that is something that we are having to come to terms with. Because you're caught in this conundrum of, as bad as this sounds, actually wanting to know what is out there and never wanting to know what's out there. Because you already know, but there's still that desire, there's still the denial, and the ANPs who are going to look for any shred of evidence, physical evidence, that they can use to either confirm or deny that this happened. But yeah, knowing that you, as a child or as a teen or even an adult, is out there floating around someplace for these sickos to get, yeah, that's disturbing. Profoundly disturbing. So to come to terms with it for us, we've just simply basically had to deal with that fact. We're not going to go looking. We don't want to go looking. That's illegal. Even being a victim, obviously, and to leave aside the moral ramifications of that. Like closure with our abusers, we have had to reconcile ourselves to the fact that this is something that we're never going to be able to do anything about. And that's just something that you have to live with, and you can either let it bug you or not. Oh man, did my stream die here or not? Nope, we're still going. Okay, sorry. My computer did something on its own. So yeah, that's good questions, good talks today. So that one lesbian, we get you. You're gonna have to let it go. I'm sorry. Don't want to tell you that. But you can let it eat at you, or you can move on. And you can also bear comfort in knowing that that person that may be on those photos, that person that's on those videos, that's not you. That wasn't you. That might have been your body being used by somebody else, by an adult or another adult or any permutation. But that person, the person, that wasn't you. You are, while you still are that person, you are not. And I'm not sure if we're making sense on this, but it is, you're going to wrestle with it. And you're just kind of going to have to find your own reason and your own solution to it. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things with this that the victims, us, the people impacted by it, are never going to be able to get any justice or resolution for. So we have to learn to come to terms with that ourselves, and then if we can, turn that negative into a positive by giving our experience to someone else like we're giving it to you now. You, in turn, will be able to give your experience to someone else who is facing the same thing. There's those ripples. But yeah, it's tough. Okay, great questions, guys. Keep going. Okay, let's see here. Oh, there's our mods. It's about time. Hello, Roses. It's all right. Of course, I didn't give you a heads up on that. So, Yes, she's here. Old giant pint of laundry, yes. Roses and Synesthesia are both here today. They are our mods and the friends that we have talked about in the videos and whatnot. So hi, guys. Thank you very much. Let's see. I have They Look Surprised, and yes, it's who available at this point. I will try again, thanks. Yeah, just hang in there, Quasi. Hang in there. We went through a couple ourselves before we found our good one. And oh dear, the one that they tried to assign to us after our current therapist left. Not even going to go into that. No connection whatsoever. YouTube is not mainly receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, hopefully it's not lagging too much for you guys. Okay. So, let's see, back to the questions here. Carryverse says, thank you, I haven't watched your videos before. Others in my system may have recommended you as helpful. Thank you. Glad that they are getting it. Ooh, good background today. Yeah, that's actually, people have been commenting on that. It's this big screen covered with black velvet that we made a long time ago for a completely different purpose, that we all of a sudden went, oh, gee, maybe if we put that up behind us, we'll be able to sit in front of our computer and it'll block the glare. So, yeah, unless you're referring to the rotating pyramid, which has been part of our thing forever. So, okay, 5 pieces of 9. So, one of their trauma holders that is 5 has revealed that he intentionally jumped off a wall prior to his older sister's help. And she was later lost, and that is why, the week after that, we had a nightmare about being trafficked. Yeah, that's, oh God, we're sorry. We're sorry for your pain and what you're going through and what your little did. Those of you who have seen the videos know that we put up one called This is Trauma, This is Therapy, This is DID, that we took about an hour or so after we had learned in therapy that when we were 5, we tried to set ourselves on fire and burn ourselves alive on 3 separate occasions. So, yeah, you're not alone. Not alone. Hang in there. 5 pieces. Okay. Hang in there, 5. Figs, I'm sorry, I cannot possibly pronounce your username, so I'm just going to call you Fig. I hope that's okay. I love the pink hair on your avatar, though. Hope this hasn't been asked already, but what would your recommendation to systems wanting to join the community here on YouTube to educate and share their story? We're not sure exactly. Okay, you've been struggling to start. We're going to assume that you're saying that you're struggling to start telling your story. Rather than looking for channel recommendations, of which they ask 5 different people with DID and you'll get 5 different answers. The ones that we have found helpful to us in the past are the Entropy System, who unfortunately are no longer actively producing content on YouTube, and Multiplicity and me. Those are really the only 2 that we kind of clicked with before we started doing our own thing, but we've kind of just stayed in our little corner. As far as you getting started, start a channel. Get your story out there. Figure out what style works best for you. Whether it's sitting in front of a camera like we do, going blah, 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 or like with 5 pieces of 9, who we were just literally chatting with there, who was one of our early viewers, and we encouraged to get out there and start their channel and tell their story, and they were like, well, our content is so radically different in the way that we presume, and it's like, and we told them, that's okay. That's you. You tell your story in the way that you want to, because you're the only person who can do it. So we would say the same to you and anyone else out there who wants to get their story out there and maybe share some, to help educate folks, or at least help break the stigma, or whatever catchphrase you want to use. Just do it. Get out there. If we hadn't started this channel, we would not now be friends with 2 wonderful systems who have been very supportive of us, and we've been supportive of each other. So again, here's the ripples. Grab that rock, pick it up, and throw it. Don't be afraid. What do you have to lose? So I hope that answers your question there, Fig. Win Chang, in this situation, I refuse to seek closure. Doesn't mean much to me. It only hurts more as if I expect them to change over time. They can rot. Mood. We hear you. We hear you. We stan. Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of gets under our skin, too, is the whole, oh, you need to let go of your trauma and forgive your abusers and blah, blah. Spare me, okay? It was my trauma. It's my pain. I'm going to work through it in my own goddamn time and my own goddamn way. This is the only thing that I can truly say is mine. So don't try to put your false expectations or 12-step programs on me, thank you. If I want to hate my abusers, I'm damn well going to do it. If I feel like forgiving them, I'll do it in my own damn time. So, yeah, when... yeah. Can't blame you. Okay, 5-9 on not being able to do anything about the abusers. One of ours was a psychologist, but he's also dead in the outer world now. Congratulations. Yeah, we're not terribly politically correct, I know. Hopefully didn't ask this at a bad time either, that this is a really meaningful talk. No, not at all. Like we said to folks earlier on, and if anybody has joined since then, ask whatever the hell you want, okay? If we don't want to answer it, we'll tell you. We're pretty damn blunt. But this is why we started the channel, was to address these difficult things and, maybe help each other. Because we're not the only ones out there. Again, not alone. It's not just a catchphrase. And goodness knows our friends bring it back up and stick our nose in it often enough to remind us of the very things that we espouse. And yeah, so... so no, ask away. Symphony, hello, good to see you again. Let's see, RK420, that's how we're living with our own trauma, just something in the past we cannot fix, and our abusers will never take accountability, an unfortunate reality for any system to understand. Yeah. Welcome to DID. Yeah, see, I just love you guys are supporting each other with hugs and stuff. Okay, Win, back to you. Here's a good question. Do you think intergenerational trauma contributes as a factor for a child to develop DID early on in life? I split as early or 2 or 3 as we discovered. Yeah, we split early too, right around that same age range. 2.5, 3. Could even be earlier, depending, but that's a dark area that our therapist and I are not digging into at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. Intergenerational trauma, totally. An abusive environment, emotional, as we've stated in our videos. DID is not just formed by physical or sexual abuse. It is any intense, sustained, prolonged trauma over the course of time. This can be emotional abuse, deprivation of basic needs, living in a war zone or a high-stress environment, i.e., if your parents are alcoholics and constantly arguing with each other and it's a toxic household, or are drug users or something like that. Just living in that is enough to do it. I mean, it's going to vary from person to person and system to system because our brains are all individual and they all work in different manners, which is one of the maddening things when you're trying to pin down, exact things with DID. There are generalities that we all share, general symptoms that we all share, but each system's going to be a little bit different. So there's never going to be a complete match. But yeah, that is a great question. Yeah, the environment around a child is crucial. And we actually go into this in our Learning to Love Again. They're called love maps, which is the internal structure or the internal idea that a child develops over the course of time of who their ideal mate, wife, lover, friend, or whatever is. It's based off of the influences that they're exposed to, social influences, religious influences, economic influences. So yeah, it all absolutely plays a part. So yeah, I'm getting ahead of the questions here. We're doing well for for a while here. Okay, hang in there. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're literally saying you also have war history and trauma history from other sources because war-torn family lines. Yeah, so absolutely. Yeah. Channels have definitely been helpful for us. Fig says, just discovered your channel. We're super happy to find you guys. Thank you. Glad that you found us. Let's see. Roses is saying, yeah, okay, they're coming back. So much for the ice. Anytime, Fig. You're just going to start our own channel for ages, but we don't know where to start. Yeah, Kyrie, just start. YouTube really intimidates us. RK420 says, we can get that, but at the same, it's you. It's your channel. You're the one who controls there. If somebody leaves you a nasty comment, ash can them. Block. It's just that easy. But you never know. Maybe they'll be nice. Our friends Roses and Synesthesia have been marveling that our streams are so polite and everybody behaves themselves and our comment sections are so clean. We have only had to block, I think, 4 people throughout the whole course of the channel. I mean, we haven't been around long, but that's it. So it's a good community, actually. Okay, so let's see here. So don't be intimidated. Just tell your story. You have nothing to lose. Yeah, I'm catching up here, guys. So, let's see. Okay, Wynn is going on saying that families from both sides have been victim of war, civil and international. Not going to go deep into the stories. But the stories I've heard on my end disturb me to no end. I would be told stories from both ends, and I know for a fact that my maternal grandpa has PTSD from war events. Both of my grandmothers were left alone to raise numerous children. Sigh. Hug first. Yeah, and forgive us, but that you are a living example of DID. Not, I mean, we're not assuming that you don't have trauma as well. We're just saying that given the experiences that you've had, that, yeah, absolutely, those kind of things. And it's possible that your grandparents or parents did develop DID or OSDD and never knew it, depending upon what the circumstances were. So, yeah, valid question. Very good question. And we're glad that you asked that, because that does show just how many different factors can come into it. Somebody says, just wanted to say thank you again. Your video is helping me a lot, especially to stop blaming myself for what happened to me and all, and accepting how I work with it. Yeah, we're glad that it's speaking to you guys. We know our videos can be difficult to watch. That's why we put up the trigger warnings, but we have heard so many people say, this, you spoke to us, this touched you. And keep in mind, we're just presenting the information. The way this works is that we decide, okay, we have this that we want to cover. And we had a list of about a dozen things before we started the channel that we felt that we needed to address. And then Data goes looking for scientific papers and abstract treatises and all of his long hair scientific stuff. He gets the research, reads through it, and boils it down to bullet points for us. Then I record it and we present it to you guys. So basically all we're doing is kind of acting as a filter in between and also providing our experience. We always link to the documents that we're referencing in the description or the comments section. If we miss any, let us know. But yeah, so just trying to give you the best of what we can find out there, but we're glad that it's helping you, Symphony. Okay, slower is always better than faster. Yeah, safety of the system first and foremost. Yes. Yeah, system safety. Okay, that one lesbian says, have you ever been sent to a long-term state facility? I went in 2014 and it was horrible, even in the 20th century, and I've never met or seen anyone online in real life discussing it. Super lonely in that, candidly. We have not. We're kind of sorry because we wish that we could commiserate with you on that, but we haven't, because Data and Bootstraps and I... See, I'm not even sure if I am the core. I tend to think of myself as just another... It gets fuzzy. But Data and Bootstraps and I have always basically been the main three that have kept control. Now, we will admit that we came very close to being at least observed overnight just recently within the past 2 months. Data went on his full bore. These are the facts. This is what our condition is. If you take us away, this will destabilize us, so please don't. And manage to talk the police officers and the paramedics out of taking us in for observation. That's all we're really going to say about that day. But we have managed to avoid it thus far because data has always kept this razor-tight control over things like that. And it has both kept us out, but it has also served as a detriment to us. But we can sympathize in that our half-sister from our mother's second marriage was in and out of those places a lot during our later teenage and early adult years. As it turns out now, we kind of know why she went off the deep end and would be very surprised if she wasn't also a system, given our traumas and the people who did them. So we are familiar, or at least were familiar with those types of institutions in the late 80s, and I'm sure that they didn't get any better for a while there. We have been in one recently, not as patients ourselves, and it was a very nice, controlled, clean environment, but yeah, it still had that institutional loneliness. I don't know about you guys, but every time that we've ever walked like into a nursing home or someplace like that, it's like walking into a place where people are just waiting to die. It's this black hole of emotional negativity. And so we think we understand what you're going at there. That one. We wish we could say that we identify with you directly, but at this point we don't, and we're really hoping that we won't be hospitalized. We're doing our damnedest to make sure that we don't. But there is, to be real, always that possibility out there. But again, it depends upon how active you are in using the tools that you've been given, pursuing your mindfulness. The one thing that we can't state enough is some kind of a breath-body movement thing. We use an offshoot of Tai Chi called Qigong. Tai Chi is also great. Yoga. Anything that combines body movement and breath, because it really does help to recenter you, and it helps a lot with those body memories. And if you've had them, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so hopefully that'll help that one, lesbian. Like I said, and thank you for being candid. Thank you for that. And thank you to anybody for being candid, not only here, but in the comment section of the videos. We have had some tremendously good discussions sparked by people who are willing to put themselves out there and take that risk. So thank you, all of you, for doing that and helping us in helping to build that dynamic. So let's see. Let's catch up here. Oh, come on, mouse. This mouse hates me. Okay, let's see. So it's faster. Okay, so that was in state. Thank you, appreciate that. Facebook. Starting bids on Facebook to warm up. Because you're out on there anyway. Yeah, we don't like Facebook. Hardly anybody uses it, in our opinion, but one person's trauma is a bump to another. Each individual will process the same trauma differently, so never think that your trauma is not that bad. It was horrific to you. Yes, just a mom. We are going to read that comment of yours again because it is very, very important. One person's trauma is a bump to another. Each individual will process the same trauma differently. So never think that your trauma is not that bad. It was horrific to you. Yes. Yes. Sorry, allergies, and I didn't want to cough in your guys' ears. So yeah, very valid point, just a mom. very valid point, because we see that a lot. And we've had to actually tell folks, look, don't put us up on a pedestal saying, okay, oh God, your trauma was so unimaginable and bad. Yeah, it was, okay. So was yours. It's trauma is trauma is trauma. We don't believe in this whole, your trauma was so much better than better or worse than mine, so, or you must be so much farther along because of it, and you've got all your shit together. No, we don't. Don't fool yourself. We just admit it. Okay, so anonymity can create horrible comments, etc. There are great communities on here. Yeah, so it really just depends upon how closely you prune your comment section. We treat ours like a garden. Would love an email on how to block a user. You just simply right click on a comment that they made, and I think it's just block user there. We'll try to remember to give you a step-by-step, but I think that's all it is. Okay, Roses is saying to Win that both of their grandfathers served in the U.S. military. Dead certain that experience this is. Yeah, absolutely. It all goes in. Okay, here. Okay, I'm just gonna read down the questions here because you guys have jumped ahead of us, and that's great. But I do like to get to each, or we'd like to answer each and every one of these. So we're gonna peruse here. Keep talking amongst yourselves. Chinese and the system. My brother, though religious, was incredibly amazing in the information. I don't understand what happened to me. Very good one. Very good. You're unwilling to put ourselves out here. Terrified of any kind of exposure. RK420 is saying that they've been terrified of putting themselves out there and terrified of any kind of exposure. Yeah. We were hella nervous when we put out our introductory video. I think that's like the first damn thing that we said. But this was months ago, and now we're sitting here chatting to you guys. Don't know how many we've got on right now. We put ourselves out there and people connected. Okay, we never expected to hit 1,000. Ever. We just figured, hey, let's throw our hat out there and just so that we'll have something, or at least where we can just blow off. And it turned into something else. So you never know who you're going to reach. Throw that rock. You have nothing to lose. This is about as safe as an environment for systems to put themselves out there as you can get. I mean, to the haters, It's like... Alright, so, let's see. Symphony Cosplay. 1. As a person having ADHD and Asperger's autism, I was already experienced some level of disassociation, depersonalization, derealization. With trauma and recent stress, it amplified a lot. Yep. 2. Saw a psychiatrist recently, and he said I developed some sort of OSDD. I have 8 alters plus me, and we do switch, but we have very partial amnesia, so we try to adapt. Yeah, you just basically described him. He said you're OSDD, and that does match. What you're saying is you are the core, the ANP, and then you have 8 EPs, or emotional parts, commonly called alters, although AMPs are also an alter. But yeah, OSDD is you poor guys are kind of caught halfway in between. But I don't want to say fascinating, but it is kind of interesting. When is saying, we were sent to take care of our brother often, since we were alone at home often in our Chinese teenage years when we should have been going out to play and explore the world. You too. You too, huh? Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Always incredible when you have a family member who can listen to you when you need it. Rosa said yes, absolutely. 3, anyway, you helped a lot when I was feeling like going crazy. Thank you a lot. You're welcome, Symphony. But again, it's not just us, it's everyone around us. Okay? Community, not alone. Loved, strong, not alone. Okay, so let's see. RK420 vlogs have always sounded really nice to do as well. Yeah, yeah, you could just record your thoughts and upload it, People, it's like... It's really weird what people will latch onto. Can't figure it out. I'm just catching up here, guys. Sorry. I feel like they need to get out of that. Yeah, no, it's okay. That one, it's like I said, it's sometimes it's going to be light and fluffy. Sometimes we're going to be talking about the intense stuff. Get it out. I mean, this isn't official therapy or anything, but at least we can support each other. You know, it's like, to be honest, teenagers shouldn't be raising children, and no, they should not. Very therapeutic to feel okay talking freely. Appreciate you so much. We appreciate you guys. It's a reciprocal thing here. Let's see. Very true statement. Speaking of watertight gatekeepers, our big guys basically barred the front, limited access to the front for a lot of alters, reducing their impact to passive influence and intrusive thoughts. Yeah, Data is our gatekeeper. He keeps, well, kept, I should say, pretty tight control until we were diagnosed. And then when the brain decides to shoot the stuff out, it just comes out, and there's not a damn thing he can do about it, and it frustrates him greatly. He really doesn't have emotions per se. He feels pride and frustration, and that's about it, because he just couldn't afford doing what he did and having emotions. So look at this. Yes, here's our email address if you want to contact us. This is what we love. Every live stream, you guys are helping each other and reaching out. Yes. To be honest, Kyrie, I hope we're words. To be honest, Facebook can be really toxic, but our friends list is really wholesome and supportive, so I made groups, but on our main page is better. Yeah, weed them out. Forgotten about Facebook for a while. Yeah, Facebook is kind of dead. Kay Bluger Mom is another Gen Xer. I'm so glad you post. Hey there. How's it going? Yeah, we're out here. We're out here. Yeah, Gen X all the way, man. Do not call me a boomer. All right, so, even though I was witness to my brother's birth, I wasn't the one who raised him. Still, though, at least you got to see that. Kids are the most rewarding and most frustrating thing, I think, that you can experience in life. We don't regret becoming a father, and it's been rough. And finding out that we're a system has just made things a little bit more complicated, but fortunately all of our kids are well into the teenage years now, so that cuts out a lot of the confusion that they might have felt earlier on. But then again, when we raised them, we were still a system. Just getting our diagnosis does not mean that suddenly, well, now we have DID and we didn't before. No, it was always there. So more than likely they were dealing with the different alters, but we just didn't know that we were different alters. We do know that it was confusing for them, because particularly with bootstraps and some of the persecutors, they would get very angry, or he would get very angry for no particular good reason, and so unfortunately this led to them walking on eggshells around us from time to time, and that's something that we have tried to work very hard on. So it's a struggle. Okay, let's see. 5 pieces of notes. So as the holidays are difficult for everyone and very difficult for trauma survivors, thinking of creating a video for the prevention of suicide and include content that suicide shows mentions. 1, the cause of death for those between 4 and 12 is suicide. Yeah, do it. Know about this realization, but it's saddening. Yes, your voice. Whoops. Your voice calms our partner. Thank you. You're welcome. Actually, that's one of the oldest things we have. There have been a great number of people, particularly ladies, over the course of time who have commented on our voice. We actually did a brief stint as an internet DJ, and we would get a lot of our, I don't want to say callers, but chatters who would be like, "Oh, your voice is so relaxing and so sexy." It's like, God. And our first wife is hanging over her shoulder going, "Well, it is." And I'm like, "Eee." Anyway, but we're glad that it calms you guys. So Data seems like a tough guy, eh? No. Data is essentially pure intellect and logic. That's what he is. But by that same token, he can be ruthless. If it does not fit the immediate need or the additional problem, it will just simply be, it's not. He's a curious combination of aware of everything and intensely focused, because that's what he does. He's the one that takes in all the sight, the sound, the smell, the taste. He's constantly analyzing patterns, looking for dangers, looking for people are going to react this way, they were going to react this way. Oh my God, he didn't react this way. What are we going to do? Go to the next thing. His mind is like one huge flowchart. No, actually, I don't know if any of you guys are into sci-fi, but Star Trek Discovery, yes, I know Trekkies, you're probably going, eh. The third season has gotten a lot better, and there is one episode in there where they're showing what the inside of a trill, which is a long-lived parasitic species that joins with a human or other sentient host and passes on and records all of their memories. So kind of like a mini DID system worm that gets passed along. But they were doing this episode where they were showing what it looks like on the inside, and all of these memory threads coming down and connecting to the person there, and it was as though somebody had shoved a camera inside of our head, and we're sitting there watching this with tears rolling down our face because for the first time somebody actually showed accurately what it was like, what it's like inside, or at least the way that he sees it. So tough guy, it's just more he's just doing his job. So okay, Kyrie, you are pronouncing it right if that's what you were going to say. Ray, my name, yeah. Okay, let's see. Mouse is jumping. Okay, I do encourage videos over suicide prevention for the holiday season. Very difficult, as you said before. Yeah, absolutely. The holidays are bad for trauma people. Win is going, Gatekeeper Walter, aka Shadow Husband, which I do like calling him, kept the condition incredibly watertight. There's no telling one body would have lived 5 lives as 5 different people. Yeah, we are covert. Hi, Raven, how you doing? Glad that you could make it. Yeah, we're covert as well, and you would not have been able to tell. Well, actually, our family members did say that there were differences once we found out that we were. Things made a hell of a lot more sense. We thought we were just one person desperately trying. Turns out not. Yeah, see 5 Pieces of 9. Yes, do that video. You've got people saying, yes, you see, you've got great ideas and great content. Self-confidence. We love you. We're proud of you. Let's see. No, yeah, any blackouts. Bruises and scratches. Don't remember inflicting on yourself. Yeah, boy, do we move. Yeah. Didn't even consider DID. That's why our first video is entitled, "You're telling me we have what?" Because that was exactly our reaction when our therapist dropped it on us. We're like, wait, what? You're telling me I have what? You're telling me that I am, in fact, like 12 different people. It's like, let me get back to you on that. Yeah, like from out of the blue. DJ'd for Maldwin is saying DJ'd for a game called Anarchy Online. Yeah, we DJ'd for EverQuest 2 way back in the day on the oh hell, I can't remember the name of the server now. It's dead and gone. So let's see. So chatting amongst themselves. Okay, something. Whoops. Come back here, mouse. 3 tries to take the front. Symphony is talking about difficulties when in co-conning. Yeah, and difficulties reaching some of the altars. We have a problem with one of our littles, John, who is a severe trauma holder. Broken things exist in this world, and he's one of them. He's not even aware of us. We can't reach him at all. It's as though he is surrounded by an adamantium bubble. He's talked with our therapist. He's been out 4 or 5 times for her, but he is still basically just animal instinct at this point. He runs, will scoot backwards, stuffs himself into a corner behind furniture. He's just finally gotten to the point now where he will look directly at her for a short period of time. But yeah, I wish I could give you some. Hopefully the other folks will have some feedback for you, because we don't. Because we're trying to reach ours, and it can be rough. So hopefully they'll be able to tell you. Keep trying gentle things. Try not to overwhelm them, or they could take it as an attack. It's so hard. Yeah, okay. Walter shares data spreads of being observant and highly logical, but seems to be able to feel a range of emotions and is incredibly humane. Yeah, Data is also humane as well. I would say that he feels deeply, but it's this is words. There are no words to explain some of the concepts in DID. There isn't. Actually, that's called alexithymia, which is a separation that happens between the speech and the cognition centers of the brain. We are going to be doing an episode on that at some point, and it's going to be titled I Can't Tell You How I Feel." So yeah, it's tough. Okay. Sorry for the long text. Symphony says I'll stop there. Promise. No, it's okay. It just takes us a minute to go on. Kyrie, sorry. Love that you got to see an external representation of how you see things in Star Trek. A lot of us paint, and we really want to be able to paint our inner world and do comics of our thought process. If you have virtual reality, there is a program called Google Tilt Brush, which we have found to be, and you're literally painting in three-dimensional space. It's great. If you're an artist, you'll love it. Not everybody has VR or is VR compatible, but if you do or know someone does, we do. We've been VR enthusiasts, and we've actually started to really seriously think about the possible implications and the benefits that virtual reality can have in treating trauma. We've both been helped. It's like we went onto Google Earth and went and actually were able to bring ourselves down to street level and sit in the backyard of our grandparents, one of the only places that we ever felt safe. But we were able to bring ourselves right down and just sit right down there in the photo that had been taken of their backyard, and the emotional response we were not ready for. I mean, we just started crying and choking up. We could barely breathe. It was just this feeling of... There were so many feelings, but that got us to thinking, and we've actually been triggered out negatively as the result of playing a game actually led to a nasty flashback. But yeah, the power is definitely there, and especially to express those kind of things that we're remembering. Yeah, art is vitally important. We sketch and do the VR art. You know what? Actually, we're working on a representation of our headspace, and when we finally finish that up, we're going to go ahead and post it on the channel, so you guys can get at least an idea of how we see things upstairs. Oh, Silent Lucidity, Tuvix, yes, that is one of the best Voyager episodes. Oh my God, just rips your heart out. Oh my God, that was one of the best ones they ever did. So yeah, Silent for sure. Voyager was awesome in a lot of ways. Underrated show. And it's not all good, but yeah, they really did some powerhouse stuff. So yeah, that's actually, we just got done going through Voyager recently. We cycle through the various shows. Yeah, they're remembering Tuvix. Okay, ooh, hang on here. No. I'm backtracking. Hang on, guys. Okay, Kyrie says, oh God, I do have a question. Ray confronting. We cannot confront, most of us. It's like a constant seesaw effect, and we just get pushed out and then push the other out. And there's no balance, like they can't have two people control the body at once. Is there any way to get better at this? How do you both sit in the front and not just push each other out over and over again until you both space out? I would imagine it's just going to come down to kind of like... we're going to keep talking, but we need to turn the lights on because it's gotten dark here. It comes down to internal communication, really. You're asking something that we did naturally... because we didn't realize we were a system when we grew up together, functioning kind of as a unit. We got used to co-conning because that was our natural state of being. Rose's Rent, if she's still on here, actually can answer that question for you far better than we can. She's given us, they have given us some really outstanding advice. So we're going to shoo that over to you because we're just not qualified as some of the other of you to answer that. So hopefully they can provide you with some feedback on that. All right, and we're back. But it does get really jumbled up in the headspace sometimes, and it just we are starting to develop a schedule of who gets to do what on some days, but it's like at the barest beginning. I mean, right now we really can't function unless we keep 3 notes in 3 different places on 3 different calendars, our cell phone, our tablet, and everything, because time for us recently has ceased to be a linear thing. We're like living quantum leap, legit. So, yeah. Yeah, there you go, RK420. Share the art. Put it up on your channel. Yeah. Now there's 26 of us. We are over a dozen. I think we're at 14, maybe. We just had a new little come to the front recently. Her name is Susie, and she is 5 to 6 years old. She comes after Christopher, and is also a trauma holder, and yet is somehow a giggly little girl that runs around in the headspace. And yeah, we can't quite figure Susie out yet, but she's the newest addition to our little family, so you never know how many are gonna be there. We're just kind of like, welcome to the family at this point. So hopefully, Kyrie, some of the others will be able to share that for you, because they're much more qualified and have had a much longer experience. Feeling deeply has to be a gatekeeper thing. Walter does that too. Yeah, but we hear you, Win. We know what you're talking about, but it's so hard to put into words. Smiled when you said self-confidence, yet inclined to believe that most here understand that intellectual understanding is very different than emotional understanding. Yeah, they go together. We feel you. It will come in time. Look how far you've come, 5. Look how far you've come already. Keep going. Keep putting your voice out there. Stay the course. The emotional belief will come. I can tell you right now, you are already far more self-confident since you started the channel, and we chatted to you on email. So give yourself some credit. Seriously. And yes, everyone's encouragement helps. Oh, another trait is this: humor is technically broken. He laughs at literally the most ludicrous of things. Data has an extremely dry sense of humor. Like, if you put a plate of fruit nearby him for a day, you would have fruit jerky by the time. He's just, yeah. But we love him, you know. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'm just going to catch up on comments here real quick because you guys are ahead of me. But again, I'm going to skim to make sure that we don't miss any questions. Okay. So I never watched the show. I did not stop watching. Okay, yeah. It's Google Tilt Brush? Yes. Yeah, and Google Earth is actually one of the best free VR programs out there. It's incredible, really. I mean, you can go anywhere in the world you want and go from outer space down to street level. It's just... So yeah, check that out. And we are going to do a show on the possibilities of VR in treatment and with DID. They're still talking about the 2VIX episode, so yeah. 2D and 3D artists, so do keep a book of drawings of my altars. Yeah, we've shared a few on the channel. We may do an art episode at some point, but a lot of our stuff is not for... It's not like nudity or anything, but it's just, it's dark. Yeah, it's, yeah, not fun stuff, so... yeah, once we get the headspace representation done, we'll see that. Symphony sang with having a Victorian vampire lady, a medieval king, and a bunch of teenagers plus 2 fictives. They tend to form groups, which complicate communication. Yeah. If I can go in there more. Yeah, see, you folks are starting to talk about your headspace. Ours is fog for the most part. It's like being in a thick London fog. And we're just kind of there, but yeah. Yeah, if Rose, I'm sure. Okay. Sorry, I threw roses under the bus there. Roses, they basically they wanted to know more about intersystem cooperation, co-fronting, and the difficulties that may come with this because we split so early and did it naturally. We were hoping that maybe, since you've helped us understand that you could help them. So didn't mean to throw you under the bus there. Roses is taking care of someone, so if she cuts in and out. Yeah, co-consciousness issues, basically. Okay, does there seem to have been a worsening in difficulties due to COVID for us? No. No, we are a covert system, and the minute that we step our... Okay, we can go out into our yard now without feeling that somebody is going to grab us and rape us, but pretty much the minute that we hit the road or get beyond we are a nervous wreck. I cannot begin to describe the level of anxiety. So really we've just stayed the same because of COVID. If anything, it's actually helped to lessen our stress because there's less people out there and they don't stand as close, most of them, and they all wear masks, so you don't have everybody's stuff screaming at you all the time. So for us, it's actually been a bit of a relief. Okay, so you guys are chatting back and forth, yes. Okay, Okay, here's a question for all of us here. Do your alters identify with the body's ethnic and ethnic culture? I can tell you, even though the body is Chinese, some of us don't identify with it. They have three other alters aside from them that identify with their physical, ethnic, and cultural background. One is non-human. I feel terrible speaking about this because I'm a white male. The body is a white male. Not all of us on the inside may be male, but the body's a white male, and we have benefited from that white privilege that they speak about. It is real, it is out there, and it's invisible because we don't bother to think about it until we do bother to think about it, and it's real and it's out there. So recently we've gotten a little uncomfortable asking things like that. Percival is from the UK. We've never been to the UK, and yet he can literally tell you all about the area with accuracy. We actually found out why he knows these things with the help of Roses. He is a positive interject, and as it turns out... because we had asked him, where are you from, Percival? And he's, Shrewsbury. I'm trying to do him and I can't. It's nearby Wales, and they have wonderful sheep there. It's a nice ranching company. And we're like, yeah, right. So we went and Googled, and sure enough, it was all there exactly as he described it. But as we were talking with Roses later, it turns out that there is this show called, and we're going to mispronounce this and butcher it, Cadfael. Caedfal, we think, which is literally set in the town of Shrewsbury and is right there on the Welsh border with sheep country, and it's about a priest who goes into the small village and, is the new parishioner and whatnot. And the street that he lives on is Percival Street. So here you have a prime example of how a positive interject may form. At some point, our brain went, oh, safe place, this is cool, this is nice, this is a place I would want to be, and imprinted that along with our love of literature and that kind of thing, and Percival formed from that. So the positive interjects are not trauma-holding alters, so they can form literally from the positive influences in your life around you. Our alter, Rosemary, who is a protector and a positive interject, was formed directly off of memories of our grandmother and one of her friends, well, a couple of her friends, and just grandmother types, but mostly off of our grandmother. And yet our grandmother was from the East Coast, which we initially are, and Rosemary is from Georgia. And we've never been to Georgia. So we're still waiting to find out if it's another one of these Percival things or exactly where she comes from. We think we have an idea, but those are just facts. It doesn't detract from the fact that they're still them, it doesn't really matter. Percival's like, oh, okay, it's like, that's fine with me. Here I am trying to do them again, and I just can't. It doesn't diminish him or how he feels about himself in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, some do, some don't. I hope that answers your question, Wynn. Or at least gives some place to go off of. Practice by playing piano together. Oh, I want a piano so bad. Okay. Yeesh, come on, mouse. What do you think of the inner thought form from another part that instructs find the others that are lost in the bad memories and bring them to the mansion in a world place that I can't access? That sounds like an altar that doesn't want to come out entirely yet, that isn't ready to fully make their appearance. We have one. We have a non-co, or someone who is co/non-co, and they're sabotaging. Their job is to sabotage us, and we finally caught on to the thought processes that are leading to this. We don't know who it is yet. It's none of the mains. It's nobody that's come out yet so far, but there is definitely somebody else in there. Don't know when they'll come out or if they'll come out, but they're there. It sounds like yours is trying to save the others. So it sounds like they're in a protector role. I would give them the benefit of the doubt and see what shakes out. Our advice. So, okay, let's see. Feel that being on disability, I'm home all the time anyway. Yeah. We're actually going in for our hearing in January, finally. It's been like several years. Let's see here. So you're talking back and forth. How do you deal with alters who want to cause harm to the body? Acceptance, small things, working with them. Most of the time, they just want to be heard, acknowledged that they exist and that their feelings are valid. One of the techniques that we ran across someplace else that we've tried to pass on to people is particularly those who like to cut or commit suicide or things like that. It's a pressure relief for them. They're trying to close the stress response cycle in the only way that they know how. If you don't know what the stress response cycle is, basically it's the fight or flight or fawn or freeze instinct. We go into excruciating detail on it in our Learning to Love Again video, so hit that up. It is really important to understand what that is and how it impacts us, because it's crucial to how we operate. So, acceptance. What we learned was to, when you're feeling or they're feeling that suicidal urge, rather than cut, take a black Sharpie and make a mark where you would make the cut. And the mark can be a reason why you're feeling that despondent, or for what we do, it's a reason why we should not. For example, our daughter, our son, our cats, you guys, whatever, a positive thing to keep us alive, but we're still making the physical mark, closes the stress response cycle a little bit and affords the alter who is struggling some relief in a safe manner. Others have tried this and found that it works. Give it a shot. The article that we read initially said to use a red. We're like, no, yeah, we'll go with black. So maybe a purple color or whatever color you want. It's the actual safe action and the relief of the pressure, and it has helped us. We had one all the way up to our elbow in that day that we were just talking about, when we had to avoid being taken off to the for observation. So yeah, it helps. You may end up looking like a tattoo, but it does help. So give it a shot. Maybe some others will have some advice that might be able to help you out. Oh, hey, the keyboard works. Okay, so let's see. Derek Jacobi. Yes. Oh, I love that guy. He's such an awesome awesome alter. Awesome actor, particularly in I, Claudius. There you go. There's an obscure BBC for you. Yeah. Okay, Derek, not quite Chris. Yeah, well, sorry. Okay, for us learning to listen to the persecution system, we're just going to come down because we're going to have to come to the point here because we're getting hungry. So we're going to answer these last few questions and catch up on these comments and then go ahead and shut it down. So if you have any last minute questions or whatnot that you want to know, go ahead and hit us down there and we'll try to get to them. Yeah, you guys are given Small Town plus New Priest as a popular BBC genre. We know that, but still, you help to identify it for us, and we're thankful. Okay, so, never talked about our system to anyone except psychiatrists. Covert. Yeah, positive influences. Yeah, those are the positive interjects, and they are critical to the system. Hello, your friend neighborhood nobody. Yeah, the accents thing. I can't do Percival and I can't do Rosemarie. It's weird. It doesn't work. So, okay, yeah, alters can absolutely form from positive memories. Yep, that's actually something that we formed last time, and our therapist agrees. So, let's see. Check out channels. More talking back and forth. Yes, please. Network, folks. Unfortunately, Hatchery's angry alters do the opposite of anything she tells them. Yeah, that can be tough. And we could have sworn that she messaged us the other day, but we were barely coherent when we saw it. And then when we went to look, she deleted it or wasn't there. I don't know if you can delete Instagram DMs, but I hope that she's doing okay and that just wasn't one of our weird space-time things. Hey, Bugbean. It's okay. Good to see you again. We've just been having some really great conversations here, some difficult questions, some tough questions, but a lot of really great answers and back and forth as usual. So be sure to go back and rewatch the stream. We're wrapping it up here now, so sorry about that, but we're glad that you did pop in. Let's see. We actually know what you're talking about there, Win. We don't want to get into that, but we have had a very similar experience with what you're talking about. So, okay, so hope that I get it. Oh yeah, the disability. Yeah. Okay, you did that with the Sharpie too, and it really helped in the heat of the moment. Yeah, there we go. So try that out. We found drawing art of what we... Yes, art, definitely. Thank you for the great advice. You're absolutely welcome. And thanks to everybody out there who is giving advice and helping each other. This is why we love you guys. 3 neglected littles in my old house that was dark. Yeah, exactly. And you're not the first person who has done that. Roses, actually, Synesthesia System has recently done that when one of her littles found them in the darkness and brought them back out. So that is more common than you think. Christopher lived in a deep dark hole until finally he came out. Yeah. Yep, exactly. For us, yeah, that time thing is strange. At least let me become aware of alters. Don't believe in DID out there. Everything around. Yeah, Starlight, hang in there. You can find therapists. Keep looking around. It can be tough. We got lucky, but keep at it. And in the meantime, work what resources you do have. Family, friends, whatever support system you've got, no matter how small. And as you can see in the comment section here, there are lots of people who are willing to help and chat. So not alone, folks, not alone. Okay, let's see here. Found a needed intense sensations to help. Loud music. to just unassigned, yeah. Okay, hatchery is struggling, so this helps. Good. Good, because we do care about you guys. If we haven't seen or heard anything from you, either on your channels or recently, we wonder what's going on. Okay, cool, Win. That's the way the world should be. Yes. Link this video, suggestion for learning more. You're welcome to link it, Kyrie. I'm not sure if YouTube will let you, but no, it's okay. Don't worry about dissociating. Okay, I think we're caught up. Yes, we're caught up. Okay, guys, so we are hearing the sounds of dinner, so we are hungry and we need to get something to drink. We are wrapping it up here, so if you have any other questions, go ahead and hit them up here. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and start shutting the stream down. We'll catch you up on what's going on here. Like we said at the beginning, we are on the last 2 chapters of The Forgotten Door. Percival has already recorded the vocal tracks. We're in the process of cleaning up now and adding the sound effects and whatnot. We will have both of those for you next week. After that, he's going to be doing work with the Littles again on the Safe Space stories. We've got them all laid out in a playlist now with a little book in front of it, and then we tried to put a little emoticon on the either end, like with Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree. We've got a little bee there to make them easier, and we put those onto one playlist so that you guys can find them more easily. So we'll be getting back into those and a couple of other episodes coming on. We'll be checking in with those. Looks like everybody's okay. Yeah, go ahead. We like quick questions, and no question is dumb. So go ahead, go ahead, that one, lesbian. We'll take yours as the last. And good night, everybody who's leaving now. Thanks for coming. We'll see you around the channel. And thanks for supporting us. And each other. That's the more important thing. Thanks for supporting each other. And once we are monetized, turn off the ad blocker. It would help. Otherwise, like I said, we're not going to do Patreon or any of that crap. That's not where our focus on. But if you want to help us out, watch an ad. Okay. Didn't DID used to be considered a personality disorder, but more semi-recently they changed it to what is considered dissociative? Yeah, it's without going into the huge history of DID and multiple personality disorder, which is what DID used to be called. Basically, it all boils down to, thank you, Kyrie, and we're not monetized yet. If you see ads on our stuff right now, it is because YouTube changed the agreement thing, and they can now throw an ad on whether you're monetized or not, but we'll give you guys a heads up. So, back to the one lesbian's questions. Yeah, they changed it, but they didn't. Basically, we're only familiar with the DSM-5, which is the American or U.S. psych manual, Bible, whatever you want to call it. It used to be called multiple personality disorder, but then they basically started to, I don't want to say figure out, but the theory of structural dissociation became more commonplace. We cover it in detail on our video, Who in the Hell Are You People? Alters and all about them. We go into it. Basically, it's a 3-tier system from least to most symptoms. At the top, you have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, which can come from an intense trauma. It doesn't cause you have the AMP and one EP. Then we go to the secondary structural dissociation, which is BPD, CPTSD, OSDD, which are one ANP and numerous EPs or emotional parts. Then we come to that secondary structural dissociation. Then there's the tertiary structural dissociation, which is DID, or Dissociative Identity Disorder, which we have everything above. So we have PTSD, BPD, OSD. We've got the full range because we have numerous ANPs and numerous EPs. So it's kind of like a descending level of crap. But that's where the the DSM-5, and the current understanding is, obviously this is still just finally being recognized as a valid disorder and caused by, so science is kind of catching up with where the therapists and the researchers have been for the past, since like the 80s with Van der Kolk. So that's basically what it is. But for a more in-depth explanation of what you're after, yeah. Okay, when? Yes. DID better describes the formation of the condition, what outwardly looks to be like multiple personalities. Yeah. She's essentially, essentially describing the structural dissociation theory. So go to the Who in the Hell Are You people to check that out, and hopefully that'll help. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, they kind of reclassified it. Yeah, your friendly neighborhood nobody just pretty much nailed it on the head there as a general thing. So, yeah, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, guys. Some word vomit. I like that. So we're going to go ahead and close down the stream. You guys are welcome to keep chatting. We'll leave it on with music on for, we'll give it a good 10 minutes for you guys to chat and stop, but we're going to go ahead and sign off and mute the mic and go video. So thank you guys again for coming, for listening to us, for supporting us on the channel, and for helping each other and getting the community going in the way that it should be. So we thank you, and we remind you, always remember that you are loved, that you are strong, and that you're not alone. Thanks, guys, for watching. This is Chris and the rest of us, and Data, and the whole kit and caboodle signing off. Have a great night, guys. Alrighty, bye-bye now.